All right, we're recording. Dang it. Rachel wasn't here to remind me. So we're going to start a little bit later, but that's okay because I haven't gotten to the good stuff of anything yet. So basically, if you want to know about a paper planner or you need an idea of what kind of paper planner to get, post in the studio, ask what kind we use, and you're going to get several different options because I know a lot of us use different planners. Now you can use an app, of course you can, but I do think that physically writing down your schedule helps to ingrain what's happening, what's going on. And when you really start getting into the habit of checking things off, crossing them out, it's such a triumphant feeling. You know, it's like done, check, finished. Telling you it's going to become something that's super addictive to you. So before you sit down and you open your computer or your laptop or you look at your phone, set that intention for the day of how you want to feel, the vibe you want to bring with you throughout the day, what you need to get done, and then what you want to get done. So there's several different things there. It's the things that you want to, or that you need to get done, and then things that you want to get done. And then there are things that, you know, must get done throughout the day. Like you have to do this. And there are things that should get done, but maybe they're not a priority. So list it out that way, separate it out that way so you know what your priorities are. And, you know, this is what discipline is all about. You set that intention. You work at it every single day. And when you become more disciplined, the easier life is going to get. To become the best you have to do the things that need to get done, even when you don't want to do them. In a nutshell, that is what discipline is all about. And I hear it all the time. I don't have time. You do have time. You just have to become disciplined in how you're spending your time. Because when you have structure here in one area, then you're going to have more time here in another area. So you've got to become disciplined and you have to become structured. More structure here, more time here. And time management is all about making the most effective use of your time and working smarter, not harder, right? We hear that all the time too. Work smarter, not harder. But it's absolutely true. It requires planning, and then it requires you sticking to that plan. And I know that that's where a lot of us get stuck. Like we can make the greatest plans, yes? And you've got all this stuff, and it's like, if this worked perfectly, this would be a perfect day. Well, that can happen, but it takes discipline and it takes consistency. And eventually you're going to have a routine and you're going to have a structure, and it's just going to become a way of life. A lot of what I do in my blocking out the time is like second nature. I don't really even need to look at my Google Calendar. I know pretty much, except for if I have appointments throughout the day, I know what I need to be doing between 9 and 10. I know what I need to be doing between 12 and 4. Those are things that have become habits for me because I've been using the system of blocking out time for years now. So let's talk about that. Because I want you to get into the habit of breaking your schedule down into these chunks of time, these blocks of time. You set aside time for very specific areas of your life, especially the areas that you need more work in, more accountability in. You set that intention at the beginning of the week. Then you'll set that intention again at the beginning of each day. And that's why setting aside time for a morning happy hour or miracle morning or just a morning time, it doesn't even have to be a whole hour, but time to review and set that intention for the day. So you should have chunks or blocks of time set. You should have a workout planned in there somewhere. If you're looking at it as a week, then you should be looking at workouts throughout your week. And my suggestion is that it should be the same time each day so that you create that habit. Every single week, you should have free time planned in there. Every single week, you should have family time planned in there. You should have creative time, reading time, learning time, and catch-up time. That's a really important one. A day or hour blocks of time to catch up on the things that you didn't finish, that you need to complete, that things maybe ran over. Like, you need that time to catch up on the things that you weren't able to either get to or finish as a whole. But these should be blocks or chunks of time scheduled into every single day. Because if it's not there, they're not going to become habits. They're not going to progress. So you've got to be intentional each week to schedule things in. And again, you're going to need to work really hard to become that person who is intentional about their time. And I think that that is the hardest, it's the hardest thing for people to grasp, is that you can make this, not grasp, you get the idea of it, but to create this schedule and then stick to it. It's the sticking to it that's really hard. And I don't mean like stringent, like, oh my gosh, it's 3 o'clock, I have to eat lunch. Like, obviously there's a little bit of leeway in there, but in general, you have to block time out. So think about these blocks of times to be spent on certain areas of your life. Maybe you set aside time for meal prepping. Even spending time with your kids or your grandkids, like, that's important stuff. And if you know that you have scheduled that time in, it makes it much easier to focus on those need to do things, because you know that these other things that you really want to get to, you have created time, set aside time to get those done. So schedule in the blocks of time, break it down around the schedule that's already set. So maybe you work 40 hours a week, or maybe 50, including, travel time. Or maybe you work part-time and your schedule fluctuates. Those chunks of time don't have to be the same. You just need to make sure that you're blocking out those chunks each and every week. Then you fit in the other areas of your life that are more fluid around that. So you've got a set schedule, block that out. You know what hours you work throughout the week. If you don't, and you're like me, where you actually have an open schedule and you are your own business person, right? You're your own boss, and you can make out whatever times you want. And I'll tell you guys, the whole point of blocking out time came to me and became really important to me when I did start to build my own business, and it was medical billing. And I needed to set hours for myself, or else I would wait until the very last minute. And then it's like 6 o'clock at night. I've done nothing all day. And it's like, oh my gosh, I have like 5 hours worth of work to do. So blocking out that time, no matter who you are or what you do, is really, really important. So I am a very visual person. I like to see things as a whole. So, obviously I use my calendar, my planner here, and I'll show you what this week looked like. And it was very, very simple. I did not decorate my planner this week. I just kept it plain the way it comes. Didn't put any stickers or washi tape. And what I do here is I had a list. I just used these sticky notes, and I wrote down here some of the things that needed to get done by the end of the week. And the things that I didn't have an X by, I knew I needed to get done today, which I got done most of them. But one is our call, which I can go ahead and cross off later, right? So that's just something that, you can use a paper planner, you can use a digital planner on your phone, totally up to you, however you want to do that. So I'm going to share my screen so that you guys can see my Google Calendar. And what I mean, just in case you're not, if it doesn't quite make sense on how I block out my time. Okay, can you guys see that? Yeah, okay. So every morning, my morning me time, my morning happy hour happens between 6:30 and 7:30. I get coached, so between 7:30 and 8, if I wake up a little bit later, or if I want to take Kai for a walk, or if I am loving the book that I'm reading, then I have a little bit of a gap here of 30 minutes. So I can either relax, do more me time, take Kai for a walk. That's kind of like buffer time. I do coach work between 8 and 9 a.m. We get our workouts done between 9 and 10. I do some medical billing work between 10 and 11:30. For us coaches, we have a national wake-up call. Really, it's only about 30 minutes, sometimes 45, so I've chunked out that time there too. But I can actually print out my daily work and listen to the national wake-up call at the same time. So that's why those are in here too. I love the way that the Google Calendar works. The only thing I don't like about it is that this is our coloring options and that they don't have prettier colors, that they have like this pukey, like orange and yellow, whatever that color is. Like they don't have like lavender and pink. So that is my only thing I don't like about Google Calendar. But this part is, obviously it's pretty straightforward, right? I do coach work on Mondays and Wednesdays. Those are my big chunk times. So when I have projects for the coaching work that I do, this is when it gets done. Every Monday and Friday, it's pool time with Kai. And that would be like if you want to take your kids to the park, or, you know, that's what I'm talking about when I say schedule time in. If you look down here, every Thursday night between 6 and 9 o'clock, Rob and I will either go live on his YouTube channel, or we do a date night. So at least once a week, we are doing something together. We have been doing our workouts together every morning, you know, Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. But it's really important to us to work on our relationship and to make sure that we have time scheduled in for each other. And I block that time out, like I really do. It's on my calendar. And my son came to me the other day and he's like, hey, sometime next week, do you think that we can sit down? I want to reverse engineer my goals and I want you to help me do that. And I'm like, of course. What time? What day? Like, when do you want to get that done? Because I personally need to schedule in that time. Guess what? That was 2 weeks ago. He didn't give me a time, so it hasn't happened. Because the way that my schedule is and the way that his schedule is, it's like, you know, ships crossing in the night, and he's always busy working. And so those are things that I'm telling you, when you start blocking out time, it's going to make a big difference. Now, all of this white space, this is whatever time. This is whatever I do. Saturdays, I try not to ever schedule anything work related or to have appointments. Unless it's like a project that I super want to do, I relax on Saturdays. That's like my downtime day. I don't post very much on social media. I stay off of it for the most part. That's like me day. And then Sundays, kind of like family days, right? And so here, I've got a lot of white space in here. So does that kind of make sense that it's just chunked out time? So when I know that if I have an appointment that I need to make, I will know that if I can only get into this doctor on Tuesdays at 1 o'clock, then I know it's going to be here and it's going to cut into my medical billing work time, which means that I'm probably either going to have to make that time up here, or I'm going to have to extend it here, but I can. because I have extra time here. So I hope that that makes sense. The other thing is I have me time scheduled in every night, whether this is giving myself a facial, whether it's painting my nails, whether it's reading a stupid, not stupid, they're not stupid. I didn't mean to say that. Romance novels, a sappy romance novel that has nothing to do with personal development. That's what I do here. But then on the other hand, if I'm loving my personal development book, then maybe that is what I'm going to do right here during the me time. But it makes it easier for me that I get to anticipate time for myself when I'm like in the middle of a really bad medical billing day and I'm dealing with difficult people. At least I know that I've got date night coming up, or I can do something for me later, you know, in the evening. So this helps me to stay grounded. This helps me to remind myself of what is important to me and what needs to get done. In this phase of my life, I can dedicate a lot of time to my coach work. I can dedicate a lot of time to my medical billing work. But a year ago even, this would have been spotted with take Robbie to hockey game here. Kaylee has cheer. Kaylee has dance. Like it would have been spotted with a lot of different things. So obviously, your blocked out time is going to look a lot different than mine. But regardless, you are able to block out your time. And I do not ever suggest having more than one calendar or one planner. You have one set of 24 hours within your day. So why would you have more than one? Like it doesn't make sense to me. So I suggest everything personal, business, whatever you've got going on in your life, you put it into one calendar. Okay. Anybody have any questions about this calendar here? No? Okay. We can definitely come back to that if we need to. What I do want to touch on real quick is life balance, because life balance is 100% absolutely possible. But what you have to understand is that it is not about equal amounts of time. Life balance should be viewed as fulfillment, happiness, success in each area of life that's important to you. So maybe it's more time on your side hustle or more time to take for yourself. Maybe you want a better relationship in your life or better relationships with your family. For example, if you want balance in your relationship with your spouse or significant other, it may only take 2 or 3 date nights a month. It doesn't have to be a daily thing. Maybe it's watching a particular show each week. Maybe it's going to sporting events together. Maybe you take a nightly evening walk, or, you know, just taking time out a couple of times a week, cooking dinner together maybe. Clearly, you don't have to spend 40 hours a week to gain balance between your full-time job and your relationship with your spouse, right? Like that's kind of ridiculous. And I don't know about you, but my husband and I would drive each other crazy if we spent that much time together. So when you're thinking about balance, you think about what it's going to take to get that area in your life into balance. Maybe it's a phone call to your mom every few days, or going to lunch with a girlfriend once a month. So no more looking at life balance as equal amounts of time. It's about how you feel about that area in your life, and if you're satisfied with where you're at within that area. And if you're not, then you block out more intentional time to work on it. So when you're blocking out these chunks of time on your daily or weekly schedule, keep that in mind. What do you need to do to work on getting this part of your life in balance, whatever that part is for you? and schedule it in. Yeah? Does that make sense? I know you ladies, especially who are still on here, I know you guys have pretty much kind of grasped all that, right? Like we've been working on these things for a long time now. And I know that you understand, and even I mean, I am not 100% perfect every single day. I understand what it means to make a game plan and to block out time, but am I perfect? No. But do I make an effort, and am I intentional on a daily basis? I am. And when I sit down every day, I look at my planner and I look to see what things I have to get done throughout that day. And that is what becomes that habit. And that also is the sticking point of getting momentum, right? To get your to-do list done, to do those things that you have to get done. You don't want to do them. But when you can anticipate, something that you enjoy coming up, it makes getting through those things that you don't want to do a little bit easier. The other thing about blocking out time is if you are blocking out time of something that you don't really want to do, you know there's an end time. That does two things. Number one, you get to anticipate when you're done with whatever it is that you've got coming or whatever it is you're doing. And two, you usually get a lot more done when you have a time limit on the things that you need to get done. So if you need to fold laundry, a basket of laundry in 10 minutes, because that's how much time you have and you set a timer, then you can fold a basket of laundry and put it away in 10 minutes. If you sit there watching a show and you're like, it could take you 2-3 hours to fold the basket of laundry and put it away instead of just, getting it done and getting it situated. So I hope that kind of makes sense. Those were kind of like my best tips for getting a daily plan done and having a productive day, because you have to manage your time. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Any additions that you want to say? We good? Okay. Cool deal. Did we wrap that in 30 minutes? I can't see my clock. Feels like that was pretty quick. Okay, good. Well, thank you, ladies, very much for jumping on. I will have the recording. I'm bummed that I missed the beginning part of it, but that's okay. We got the good stuff in there for sure. So you guys have a really good night, and I will see you ladies in the group. All right? Okay.